Hello and welcome to Bricking It. Now it's a bit of a gloomy dormitory type of day outside, so we've moved our filming into the light box in the office. So hopefully we'll be able to see everything that's going on while we take a tour around our common rooms and dormitories. So this is the first one. This is, as you can tell by the flag, Gryffindor, and this is going to be the Gryffindor dormitory. Now all of the dormitories and indeed the common rooms follow a very similar format in that they've all got the same basic elements, slightly differently applied for each, but each of the common rooms contains two of these very slim, by necessity, 6x2 beds. They're very simple, just 4 gold studs on the bottom of a dark brown 6x2 plate, 4x2 blanket, little sheet turn back and a pillow made out of white tile. That's just going to pop in there and there, give the impression. Next we're going to have a bedside cabinet. Going to make that with any old brown tile, as I had a one of those profile bricks. Thought I'd use that one. Pair of headlamp bricks, just so we can slightly recess our drawer, which is just a jumper with a stud on the top. There we go, nice and simple. It's going to sit between our beds. And on the bedside table, just going to build a very simple lamp with a 1x trans blue stud on top of one of those telescope pieces, and then a dish plate on the top. And along with our Gryffindor flag, this is our Gryffindor dormitory. And let's pop Ginny in there. Just about to head off and start her day in classes. Now, although the dormitories and indeed the common rooms all feature, well, not all feature, but do feature into some of the films and indeed the books, and not really the scene of a great many things other than parties. And I'm not going to be setting many scenes in there. They really overflow, much like a library, somewhere to place some minifigs when they're not being involved in other scenes. So that is the Gryffindor dormitory. Next up on our tour is Gryffindor common room. So you can see it definitely belongs to some Gryffindors. We have a house coloured rug. Each of the common rooms has one of these rugs, and they're all differently designed. For Gryffindor, it's a quartered pattern with these scalloped edges. Got a few studs on there for students to stand on. Got a comfortable armchair. Again, each of the designs of these armchairs will be different for each common room. A couple of banners displayed by the window, almost look like curtains now I come to look at them. Just a couple of Gryffindor banners and a fireplace. So that's a little 1x2 black plate with some orange transparent cheese wedges on top. That's going to be our fire. I've got these slope plates to be the chimney breast, a couple of oil lamps on the side. But all in all, colours can tell us that this is a Gryffindor common room. One other element to go in at the side here. We just have a small table with another little lamp. Same construction as the previous one, but this time picking up those house colours in the design. Just let Ron have a seat by the fire in his comfortable favourite squishy armchair. And Hermione clearly got some research in to do, so she's heading out on her way to the library. So there's our common room. Let's put our bar back in just to complete the structure. So these are currently, and I say currently because they are towers, they do change position quite a bit while I come up with the optimal skyline. But at the moment, these two are sitting side by side at the top of one of our wings of our Hogwarts. And this is how we are displaying our Gryffindor dormitory and common room. So now, having seen Gryffindor, let's move on to Ravenclaw. So on to Ravenclaw, and if you are having a feeling of deja vu, I'm not surprised, because as I told you, these are very similar builds to each other. Again, our 2 beds. This time our dressing table is just 1 stud deep. Must come up with something to put on there. Probably be a lamp using one of those gold tap elements, a clear cylinder, and then one of the golden fezzes. So if you've seen Dumbledore's office video, it's exactly this kind of lamp build that's on his desk. This really nice clock element there, which I'm surprised isn't in a teacher's office, if I'm honest. But here it is in the dorm rooms of Ravenclaw Tower, making sure that everyone gets up nice and early. As you can see, it's 9 o'clock and everyone's left already, headed down to breakfast. I think it was originally part of a Disney castle build. This was actually one of the mini builds. So this was the front doors. Then we had this large clock over the top of the front doors. But it works really nicely as maybe a cuckoo clock in the dorm room. Showing a bit of house pride, we have one of our Ravenclaw banners hung up, ready to be taken down and head to the Quidditch pitch to support the team. And boy, do Ravenclaw need that support. And we'll just complete the scene with a Ravenclaw student just making his bed before he heads off to start the day. They do say that Ravenclaw is the brightest and airiest of all the common rooms. Now I know this is the dormitory, but I carried on that bright, airy feeling with these large windows on each side, just made out of these 1x6 arch pieces. The wall construction is a fairly haphazard affair. It's just whatever I happen to have lying around to make these fairly plain boxes. Finish that off with the bar across the front, as we always do. And there is our Ravenclaw dormitory. Let's replace that out now with our Ravenclaw common room. As you can see, similar to Gryffindor, similar sort of design. Put these pieces away. So we have a checkerboard style floor mat this time, or rug. Different design on the armchair. We've got some fancy wood elements in just below the arm of the chair there, where our happy little Ravenclaw is sitting and contemplating life, possibly considering his next move on the chessboard here for when his opponent returns from wherever they've run off to. Again, a Ravenclaw sticker element, again liberated from a Quidditch set, as are most of the house colour designs I've used throughout the common rooms and dormitories. Same style of fire. In fact, no, it's not. Gryffindor has these small flame candle pieces, I believe. Let me just check. No, it's cheese wedges. So yes, same style of fire as Gryffindor, using those cheese wedge pieces inside there. But this time we've got a full breadth chimney breast as it heads up the top. Just reconstruct our build with the bar across the top there, and that final little tile on there. Now, because Ravenclaw is in a tower, it tends to display like this in our build. And currently, as we have them spare left over from when we changed the hospital wing down to a narrower module, so we can Get all of these in display. Can we get it all in shot? No, not really. So we have just our tops of the tower. Now what you will notice is that the ceiling of the Ravenclaw common room is not blue and star covered, because I really can't work out how to do that yet. Obviously I could just plate that out in blue and then add some probably gold tiles, little studs in just to represent stars. I'm thinking of a way possibly of reversing the stud direction, maybe using some snot bricks just to reverse that, so we do have the studs on the downward side of the ceiling, so we can use some of those golden star elements, 1x elements that come in the various friend sets and others. We could just stick those all around there. It would probably bring the ceiling down level with that bar, but that's no great loss. The only thing it might obscure our Ravenclaw banner just a little bit, so that would probably need to be removed and go somewhere else, maybe on this inside wall of the dormitory. But honestly, from my regular viewing angle, I don't really see Gryffindor common room very much, so maybe not. Next up, Slytherin. So as we head down through the castle from those lofty towers, we descend into our deepest dungeon and find our Slytherin common room and dormitory. Now, although these were put on two 8x8s, I actually designed them as a single module. You can see they're clipped together there. Just to give an extra studs space in the Slytherin common room, just because this rug was a little bigger than I thought it was going to be. As you can see, the dorm room's the same size. A cheerful little Slytherin in there. Slightly different design for this one. We've got these high cupboards, just as I had these cupboards left over for storing belongings. There's an extra brick across the whole width there to create a little stone table, and these little headboards at the top of the beds. Again, just for slight design variety. I don't know what these windows are looking out on, but over on this side you can see the green glass representing the lake, because as we know, Slytherin common room extends partly below the lake. Got a nice wide hearth rug in green and grey. Of course, our standing studs have to extend across the middle because we don't get studded versions of these guys. Our fire, Slytherin's much more safety conscious. Of course we are. They are. Got a fire grate in front of our fireplace, and here's the different fire using those two little candle elements on a couple of clips inside there. Little green accents moving all the way around the room in both rooms. Put the fire guard back in there. On our mantelpiece we've got a little display, probably a Slytherin statue of the man himself and some jewel or trophy. We move our sleepy Slytherin out of his armchair. Sorry fella. You can see again slightly different design. This may even be based on the design of the armchair in the Hogwarts Moments Potions class. Now all the armchairs are all slightly different designs. I would show you the mini builds, but I am worried that if I take them apart I'll never remember how they go back together. There's no common design. I just sort of winged it and it all came out all right in the end. Next door to the armchair we have this lamp. So this is a full length lamp, and again using that telescope piece, trance piece and coloured dome. That's casting light on our lovely Slytherin banner on the wall, or sticker pieces rather. There is a banner again, liberated from the Quidditch pitch. And that gives us just plenty of house colour flavour in our small, compact common room. I can go back to sleep now. Might as well be better off next door, but this fella's clearly practicing something. Looks very pleased with himself. So let's just bring on the front. Now this is slightly different to Gryffindor and Ravenclaw in that I've got these Technic pins at the front, and that's because these sit in our just below ground level layer of the castle, and we need these Technic pins as support for our Great Hall extension. Slytherin sit. Oh, let me just wreck the place. Slytherin sits to the side of our build, and our Great Hall sits in front, and is just supported with a pin through these Technic holes, just when we extend the Great Hall for doing some of our more important Great Hall scenes, such as the entrance of the other schools during the Tri-Wizard tournament, or indeed the Yule Ball, and other such, maybe Christmas feasts or Halloween. But generally it's not there, so we just have these exposed holes. There we go, that's Slytherin. Now we'll move on to Hufflepuff. So if we head down a different staircase into the kitchen corridor, just along the hallway behind a stack of barrels, we're going to find our Hufflepuff common room and dormitories. How cheerful our Hufflepuffs look in their common room. Okay, maybe he's not so pleased. Must have got a terrible herbology mark. We'll take our students out for now, just so we can have a look at our interiors. We'll start again with the dormitory as we usually do. So again, house coloured blankets, bedside table, an explicable pumpkin. Does feel Hufflepuffy to have some vegetables in the dormitory. Maybe that's a novelty lamp of some description. Maybe it's just a pumpkin. Got a Hogwarts crest on the wall there. Now these three round plates, or tiles rather, I'm not entirely sure why I put them there, but all of the concept art you see for Hufflepuff tends to have a very sort of round, homely, wood panelled, hobbit hole kind of feel to the whole situation. So I just wanted to add that sense of, you know, curviness and roundness into the build. We've used the dark tan bricks instead of the normal tan, just because we're in the basement, so everything's a bit, you know, a bit darker and a bit dingier. It's kind of our basement colour. As you can see, it fades, transitions through, starts to come into these light tan colours at the top. We have, that you can see through our viewing portal, a couple of bookshelves, a snitch and a snow globe, probably containing Hogwarts on the side there. So these stickers for our bookshelves came from, I believe, the Hogwarts magical chest. And just below the shelves there you see some striping brick built into the wall, which obviously then shows through the other side. Just below our large Hogwarts house flag, which are two sticker pieces again from our Quidditch set. Really like our Hufflepuff rug. Nice big quartered design, plenty of studs for our minifigs to stand on. Again, the cheese wedge fireplace, mantelpiece. Fortunately, no trophies displayed for Hufflepuff. Sad. We've got a little house sticker there. Get it to focus. A couple of clips for hanging up some broomsticks down the side of our armchair. I'm fairly sure this is just lifted wholesale from Professor Snape's potions class. Got a little side table with a plant on the front. It's just very cozy feeling. And again, we've built that onto just the one base plate, so we just get that extra stud of space here in the common room, which I've used for that bigger rug. Let's put the cheerful students back in. Everyone loves to be a Hufflepuff, but nobody loves to fail herbology. Don't worry, buddy. It can only get better. And there's Hufflepuff. And again, we've got these Technic holes on the front. For some reason, I couldn't find longer tan ones to fit in, so I've had to use these small ones, which means they need an extra one at the back to pin into. And just before we pop that on, this is a fairly new development. Previously I had a couple of 8x8s, and of course an 8 stud brick won't completely span this gap, so I had to come up with a way of bridging the gap and could give myself an extra stud to support. So with a 1x2 jumper, a 1x3 plate that sits just on the middle there, creates a nice little, not quite an arch, but just a little architectural support. As you can see, even though it doesn't need it anymore, that 8th stud will clip on there. We can support roof tiles. There we go. Oh, still missing a tile. Poor planning. So there is our Hufflepuff common room and dormitory. That completes our tour of our common rooms. We'll just have a quick shot showing you them in situ in the castle, and then we'll see you next time. So here we are in our castle, just heading down below stairs where we can find Hufflepuff common room and dormitory in the basement. Just round the corner in the dungeon we have our Slytherins. As we move up past Professor Quirrell and Harry dealing with a troll, and a lovely charms class, we find above that our Gryffindor dormitory. And moving across, Harry's having a chat with Dumbledore. And past the hospital, we find our Ravenclaw tower. Just up here, next to astronomy and a divination office. So our classrooms are, or our castle rather, is just displaying a first year display. You can see some of the things going on in the other rooms, but we will talk about that again another time. So there we go, that was all of our common rooms in situ. Just sort of show you another use for those stud holes when we haven't got the Great Hall extension in. We can display our ghosts flying around the castle. And here, Nearly Headless Nick has clearly offended the Bloody Baron in some way. He's just chasing him around through the castle. So if you like this video, please leave us a like. If you want to see more videos exploring Hogwarts Castle mock, please subscribe to the channel. And I will see you again next time. Goodbye.